Hello everyone. What if one of the oldest civilizations in human history was hiding beneath the soil of Canada all along? An astonishing discovery in Western Canada is forcing archaeologists to rethink the story of early civilization in North America. Near Sturgeon Lake in Saskatchewan, researchers uncovered an indigenous settlement estimated to be around 11,000 years old. A site so ancient that it predates Egypt's Great Pyramids by more than 6,000 years. For decades, many historians and archaeologists believed that early indigenous peoples in North America lived mostly as highly mobile nomadic hunters, constantly moving across the landscape in small groups. But this discovery paints a very different picture, one of organized communities, land management, long-term settlement, and deep cultural roots stretching back to the end of the last ice age. The site, known as Âsowanânihk, which means a place to cross in Cree, lies within the territory of the Sturgeon Lake First Nation near the North Saskatchewan River. Archaeologists working with the University of Saskatchewan and local Indigenous communities uncovered stone tools, fire pits, charcoal layers, and large quantities of lithic material used for tool making. What makes the discovery so important is not just the age of the artifacts, but what they reveal about the people who lived there. The evidence suggests this was not a temporary hunting camp used for a few days or weeks. Instead, researchers believe it was a long-term settlement, and possibly even a major cultural and trade center used by generations of indigenous inhabitants. Radiocarbon dating of charcoal found in ancient hearths placed the site at approximately 10,700 to 11,000 years old, a period shortly after the glaciers of the last ice age began retreating from North America. At that time, the environment across the continent was, undergoing dramatic transformation. Massive ice sheets were melting, ecosystems were changing, and giant ice age animals still roamed the land. Among the remains discovered at the site were bones from Bison antiquus, an enormous extinct ancestor of the modern bison that could weigh as much as 4,400 pounds. Researchers believe these massive animals were a key hunting target for the people living there. The landscape itself also tells a fascinating story. Archaeologists believe the area functioned as a kind of buffalo jump, an advanced hunting system used to direct large herds into traps or over cliffs using carefully designed pathways, drive lanes, and coordinated teamwork. This was not random survival behavior. It required planning, cooperation, environmental knowledge, and social organization. Evidence suggests multiple bison kill sites and pounds existed in the region, reinforcing the idea that the inhabitants had developed sophisticated strategies for managing resources and sustaining community life. One of the most significant findings came from layers of charcoal and burned soil, which indicate that the inhabitants may have practiced controlled fire management. In modern archaeology, controlled burning is considered a sophisticated form of environmental stewardship used to shape ecosystems, encourage plant growth, attract animals, and reduce wildfire risk. What makes this especially important is that these practices align closely with long-standing indigenous oral traditions passed down through generations. For indigenous communities, oral histories have always described this region as a place of deep ancestral connection, cultural exchange, and organized settlement. Now, archaeology is beginning to provide physical evidence supporting those stories. Dr. Glenn Stewart from the University of Saskatchewan explained that the discovery challenges what he called the outdated idea that early indigenous peoples were solely nomadic. According to Stewart, the evidence of long-term settlement and land stewardship points toward a much deeper and more permanent presence in the region than many older historical models suggested. The findings have even sparked renewed discussion around the Bering Strait migration theory. While mainstream archaeology still supports the idea that humans migrated into North America from Asia thousands of years earlier via Beringia, discoveries like this are encouraging researchers to reconsider how complex, widespread, and ancient these early societies may have been. The emotional impact of the discovery has also been pretty powerful for the Sturgeon Lake First Nation. Chief Christine Longjohn described the site as proof that her ancestors were, building, thriving, and shaping the land long before history books acknowledged them. She said, "Every stone and artifact carries the footsteps, struggles, wisdom, and triumphs of generations who lived there long before colonial histories were written." For many indigenous people, the discovery is not simply about archaeology. It's about recognition, identity, and reclaiming historical narratives that were ignored or dismissed for centuries. Online, the discovery has captured widespread attention. Many social media users have described it as one of the most important archaeological discoveries in recent North American history. Researchers have even compared the site's significance to famous ancient locations like the Great Pyramids of Egypt, Stonehenge, and Göbekli Tepe because of its potential to reshape our understanding of early human civilization. While those sites are famous for monumental architecture, Âsowanânihk may become equally important for revealing how ancient indigenous societies in North America adapted, organized, and thrived in one of the harshest transitional periods in Earth's history. Perhaps the most remarkable aspect of the discovery is what it says about memory and survival. For thousands of years, indigenous oral traditions preserved stories about ancient occupation, trade networks, and stewardship of the land. Modern science is only now beginning to uncover evidence that supports many of those accounts. In a way, the site acts like a bridge between archaeology and living cultural memory, connecting present-day communities with ancestors who lived there more than 11 millennia ago. And as excavations continue, researchers believe this may only be the beginning. Beneath the soil of Saskatchewan could lie even more evidence capable of transforming how we understand the earliest chapters of North American history.